I assume that you're watching this video because you live in Alabama and you have been either sued by a debt buyer or a debt collector, or you are facing an imminent lawsuit coming towards you. And what we want to talk about in this video is why it typically, not always, but typically, in our opinion, is not a good idea to file a counterclaim. So you have a debt collector or a debt buyer that has violated the law against you, and then they sue you. So you have the option to countersue or file a counterclaim against that company. And typically we do not recommend that for three reasons. Number one, it typically complicates what may otherwise be a simple case. Number two, we have not seen debt collectors that when they get a counterclaim, they go running scared and just drop their lawsuit against you. And number three, if you have a legitimate claim, then probably if you've been sued by a debt collector, the court you've been sued in may not allow you to fully recover what your damages would be. So let's run through this very quickly. When a debt buyer sues you, and we talk about this in other videos, other parts of our website, it's a simple approach that we normally take. That debt buyer, debt collector must prove you owe the debt, but even before that, that it owns the debt. And so that's a very simple way, yet effective way, of bringing this to the court's attention to say, look, before we go any further, if this debt buyer can't show that it owns the debt, then nothing else matters. Now, when you stick a counterclaim in there and you say, well, this debt buyer called me or called my neighbors or yelled at me on the phone or did false credit reporting or whatever else it may be, you take what may be a simple case and you make it more complicated. And sometimes that's a disadvantage. So we've got the fact that it complicates a case. And some people, this is the second point, some people file a counterclaim because they think the debt buyer will just go running scared and say, oh my goodness, I've been sued, countersued, I've got to drop this lawsuit. At least here in Alabama, we don't see that. Maybe it happens and we're not aware of it. Maybe it happens in other states. But generally the debt buyers are pretty sophisticated, and if it is not a legitimate counterclaim, they're not concerned about it. And if it is a legitimate counterclaim, then you may have limited your damages by filing that in small claims court or district court. And that's our third point, is if you have a legitimate claim, and some Fair Debt Collection Practices Act claims are not worth a whole lot of money, some are worth six figures. And so if you are bringing that in small claims court, you may be agreeing that your damages are just a couple $1,000s, or even in district court that they are under $10,000. And that may be a mistake. So while we can't tell you specifically what you should do in your unique situation, I will tell you that it has been a long time, and actually I'm struggling to remember the last time that we did a counterclaim. If we have a legitimate claim, then we want to typically bring that in a separate court, maybe federal court, maybe state court, but we want that case to be focused on the defendant's wrongful conduct, not sort of complicating and putting together whether we owe the debt, whether they did something wrong to us. We like to keep it simple. We defend debt buyer lawsuits and we sue abusive debt collectors, and we normally don't put those together. Hope that's been helpful to you. If you live in Alabama and have any questions, please feel free to pick up the phone, 205-879-2447, or you can fill out our form on our website. Thank you very much.